All right,
do that.
we should be back. Let's give it a
Oh,
second. We should be back. I don't know what happened with that, so give me a second. All right, we're back. All right, sorry about that. We got kicked off Facebook, but we're back. So those of you that will come back on, we'll start with this question again. We'll just leave it up there so people can see. So opting out to hello.
yeah, I'm here.
All right, you can finish your thoughts.
We good now?
Yep.
Gotcha. Where was I? Yeah,
You
I've
said
always
you
felt
always
like it was
yeah.
good for people in your formation to see what it looks like for a military member to serve 20 years and then transition into civilian life. I think that's important. And I've always felt like it should be your responsibility to ensure that happens. The only issue I have with that is the stress of financial wise of what it comes with. You got to find a venue where to have it at. That costs money. You got to get a cake. You got to pay for folks to eat during the reception ceremony. Then you have the shadow box. That's a lot of stuff to consider when you plan a ceremony. And frankly, I don't think that should happen. I think there should be a way where not all, but there's certain things a military member shouldn't have to pay for. I think there should be provisions for the unit to pay for a standard shadow box for the member or a gift. And I know most formations they do gifts for folks, but you should not have to worry about that. And then there's the pain of just the whole thing of it. Scripts, national anthem singer, all that stuff. That can be stressful. And so I guess if it was for me, I think senior leaders should have a retirement ceremony. Although a lot comes with it, you should still have it. I think you should. I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think if you some people, excuse me, if you don't have a because it's really not for you, it's for your family, right? So if you don't have a family that can make it for whatever godly reasons happen and you don't want to have one because it's just you, I'm good with that. But if you have any type of family, especially kids and stuff like that that can make it, it is your time to for them to see you and people to gather around to say thank you for what you did. Whether it's mandatory or they want to be there, don't want to be there, doesn't matter. It's really for your family. And I'll be honest, like for my family loved it, and that's all I could really ask for because they never seen anything military at all. So whether I'm the best troop in the world or the worst troop in the world, it doesn't effing matter. Like it's really just for your family to see you, and then you can get your medals, get your certificates and stuff like that, and they dig that stuff, right? Get a certificate from the president. We all know how that works, but they don't. Some don't. And so if you don't have a family that is been to these before or ever seen these before, uh, then it's cool. But I think some people just don't have one because they don't feel like they had a respectful military career. I'm 75% on having mine at the Raven Stadium. Okay, well, good for you. That has at the Raven
Well, I
Stadium.
would I would think about well, you know what?
It's outside.
Maybe it's good. Maybe they might win something. Who knows?
All right, and then we have a long question. I don't know who Richie Brown is, but welcome to the show. I will try to move this up so we can see it.
I see it.
All right.
Richie Brown says, when I was ready, I told my spouse and she was excited for planning the next step. To answer the question, she supported whatever decision I made. I did overeducate her on the next step and we sat down and planned the future together. That way we were on the same page for the next step. Yo, shout out to you. You got a real one, man. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. I love it what he said about his spouse, supported whatever decision he made. John Becker, what's up, brother? I had a commander tell us, group of senior NCOs, that if you're over 20 as an enlisted member, it doesn't make fiscal sense to stay in. He said to get out and start earning. I I was gonna
Financial.
say
I
I
think it's supposed to be
100% disagree
financial.
with that. I will let you answer that first because I was just
Uh,
going to rant.
Yeah, does it make financial sense to get out? I think it all depends on where you're at or what you want to do. Like
Yeah.
I don't think that's a one size fit all comment at all. Some of it doesn't make financial sense. Some of it does. And some people say you make more money getting out than staying in. There's all these different theories. And then you have, veterans that are on the street being bums. So I think it all depends on who you are, where you're at in life. And it's a very crude thing to say that if you're over
Yes.
20, it doesn't make financial sense.
Yes.
It's a very
Yes.
negative mindset to have. And if
Yes.
you are in the military to be financial, then you're in the wrong business. And
Yes.
that has always been there since you've been an airman.
Yes.
Now there's there financial perks for being in the military. Yeah, you get 10% off at the mall and stuff like that. You get,
At the
credit
mall.
cards for free and stuff. You get travel and stuff like that. So are there benefits? Yeah. But if you're in it for paycheck to paycheck, yeah, we don't make as much as you do working everywhere else. But if you're also in it because of that, then you're in the wrong spot. RRR,
Yep.
what's up, man? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. All right, go ahead. We got two more questions and I'll let you go on. Well, you can go on
Yeah,
your
I
rant,
won't
then
go
we
on a
got two
rant
more.
for that. You nailed everything I was going to say. Only thing I would say is, whoever that commander was, shame on you, man. Shame on you. I would argue you make more money on the outside, whether you come in airman basic or lieutenant anyway.
Right.
You don't join the military to get rich. If you stay over 20 and you're telling people if you stay over 20 because it doesn't make financial sense, you can make more money. Shame on you, man. You don't join the military to get rich. And I think if you stay past 20 because you make the decision you enjoy where you're at. Don't stay past 20 because financial reasons. Then I would argue how effective you are because you're not thinking about what you're supposed to be doing. When you get to a point where if you're over 20, you're worried about financial reasons, you probably shouldn't be in there because then you're not concentrating on what you're supposed to be concentrating on. Anyway,
All right, Charles Davis
oh good
said,
lord,
yeah, he said, so real life hit this past week. MDG, I think that's
med
medical.
group.
Yep, hit me 30 days out from overseas PCS and said you got to push 90 days because two medical things were flagged, and there will most likely be an MEB, medical review board,
Mm,
or medical evaluation board, so that put things in perspective. Military's temporary life with my spouse is permanent. 100% not having a
yes,
ceremony, and wife is 100% good with me. So he's good with not having a ceremony. And the wife is 100% good with me. I just disagree with that. I just disagree. While I don't agree with the statement, what statement don't you agree
what
with
statement?
about being rich outside of the military? Because Devon, we're gonna talk about that one if you disagree with that. But
I
for
think
Charles
maybe
Davis,
he's
if you don't, oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
no, I was going to say I think he's talking about the statement that commander made. I think.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I understand it. I just don't agree with it. You're talking about that, I get you. But everybody is different, and
Right.
everybody cannot. Everybody. Oh man, and stop me if I go onto a rant. Everybody talks about when I get out, I'm getting a six-figure job. Everybody talks about that. The likelihood of getting a six-figure job out of another job is not easy. It is very now, some people get there. I'm not saying it's 100% guaranteed you won't, and I'm not discouraging anybody, but it is not as easy just snapping our fingers and getting six figures. It's really not. Now, unless you have those lucrative skills, engineering background, if you have um, computer science background, contracting background, yeah, there are some companies that will, but everything's about timing. Maybe they're not looking to hire nobody. Maybe they're in a hiring shortage and now they need people. So it's all about where you are, time and space in the United States or outside the United States. But it is not as easy as people say. I'm just getting out and getting a six-figure job. I understand what the CC is saying. It particularly is true depending on your VA rating.
I
But
won't.
yeah,
I will say this because we'll cover a little bit of VA piece. Very general next episode in phase 3, but you should never depend on VA. You hope for the best, but you never depend on it. And to tell people again, if you go past 20, it doesn't make financial sense because, and if you're alluding to because of a VA rating, then you're already setting them up for failure. You stay in for 20 because you still feel like you're contributing, you enjoy it, or if you don't, you transition. And to your point, I agree. My wife says it all the time, who is considered an expert in employment at the family military family readiness center. Folks between senior NCOs and officers believe when they get out, they're gonna make six figures. Not everyone will make six figures. And in some cases, you may have to humble yourself and start off at the entry level. There are a lot of civilian organizations that love the military. There's also some civilian organizations that maybe are have a military bias, meaning we're too rigid, we're maybe too straightforward, you know, and it could be intimidating. Devon says that's why I said partially true. Thank you, brother. So anyway, I want to get too far on that because that's later on in the episode series. So we'll double back to what we were saying um, about episode or phase two, what we are talking about. So we talked about who you tell. We talked about some of the thoughts you may feel or others may feel when they find out you're hitting the button. Let's talk about guilt. And what I mean by that is, speaking for me personally, there are times I felt guilty for wanting to retire because I thought about who's going to take over for me if I leave. What would happen to the airmen? Am I choosing myself over the military? Is it the right time to think this? Who's going to judge me? I think those are all fair things to think about and be concerned about. But how do you like? Did you feel that way? How did you navigate?
No, not at all. Didn't feel guilty at all. I feel like the Air Force is gonna move on without me regardless. So they were here before me. They're gonna be here after me. I feel like I can still contribute with the podcast or stuff like that, but I didn't feel guilty at all. Zero zip nada. And I
Did you
think
feel guilty that you were leaving stuff on the table, like a
nope,
promotion to senior master
nope.
sergeant, a particular assignment, or anything?
I did until I realized it wasn't gonna happen. But once I
Mm,
realized it wasn't gonna happen, it's like who cares? Like they're gonna
mm.
move on without me. I think that's part of the realization of retirement is you are done. It's like retiring from anything. You're not retiring and then gonna be a consultant, for the squadron or wherever you leave. So you're done. Like just be happy with being done. And I think, two different opinions on that. Some people say you had those people that retire that just can't let it go. And then you have the people that retire and never show up again. It's like you're at one side or the other of the spectrum. It's like, don't call me an airman. Don't call me a NCO. Don't call me sergeant this or chief this. Like, just call me Bob from now on. And they just let it all the way go. Uh, Dale Brown, come back as
So,
Dav.
Dale,
Come back as Dav. Never. Well, I wouldn't say never, but if I can help
why'd
it,
you tell?
if I can help it, never, never. Charles Davis said, "When I got out, I wanted a job, but I didn't want to work." I hope your employer doesn't hear this. No supervising. I don't want all that. 23 years in MX maintenance made me realize enough. Plus, we moved to Thailand and doing the DVT visa until I reach the retirement visa age required. I don't know what DVT is.
Don't
Triple
Google.
R says, never cared about the job spot. It will get filled every single time. I agree. I agree. In 4 months, they won't even remember you were there. Now, that I don't agree with. That I don't agree with. They'll remember. Whether you're good or bad, they'll remember. Definitely remember. Charles Davis also said, guilt. Man, DC, the Air Force been around for 75 years. U.S. Air Force will be all right. Kind of my mindset. Go ahead.
So I would compare it to the feeling you get when, like, WAPS testing. For those who are old as me and they've done WAPS testing, and you go in there, or maybe not WAPS testing. Let's say you're doing a test at school, and you are going through your tests, and you know just one shot, and that's it. And then you hear that voice say, "Pens down," and you put your pens and pencils down, and you get this feeling like, I know I got it. But then you start thinking, what if question three was wrong? Maybe I should have changed it. Maybe I should have changed question five. Maybe I should have changed question six. I would liken that experience to this because, yeah, I know the Air Force continues on. They're going to have somebody fill your position. Heck, Ronnie Woods was already named when I decided to retire. So someone's going to take my spot. But you always think, I don't know about you guys, but I've always thought when I made that decision of one, what if I could have just stayed another 2 years? I could have maybe went to another NAF job or a match cop. What would it have been like to go back to a squadron? What if I would have stayed a little bit longer and I could have been a part of the deployed combat wing? Or what do I do with airman so and so that I see every Sunday or every Monday for a mentorship? What's going to happen to them? You, for me, those thoughts always went through my mind. I think of that as I think for those who may feel that way, maybe not everybody, but if you do feel that way, I think it's perfectly natural. It's perfectly okay. That means you had a lot invested in this enterprise. I think it's perfectly natural. In fact, I'm a little surprised people may not feel that way because I think in the end, you have to realize you have to move on. That is certain. But I also think there is nothing wrong with having that feeling. What if? Or if I could have done this.
All right, Charles Davis said, I said, when I get out, Pete. Pete's still on that military reading, aka speed. Yeah, hey, very true. Maybe that is true. All right, my bad. I misread that. You never told us what the next job you got offered was. Okay.
So,
Uh,
what do you
can
say?
it, can anyone name the ninth president of the United States? Nope. And he said that because he said, "Do you even know your great grandpa's name?" And he's in your family. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, bro. But I think it's a little different, like with that. Tony Renee, what's up? Said Devon McCoy. He sure didn't. Huh. Okay. What's up? What's up, Miss Ferguson? Uh, what ifs? Question mark. Say you started, or
No.
say you stayed in longer to see if your what ifs happen and you miss out on everything else in life, like family and moments you never get back. Good point. Pete, you had a job but didn't work. You were a dog. I can't
He
hear my
picked up
butt, but
poop every day. He
I
picked
can't
up
hear.
poop every day.
I can't hear my butt, but that's a good point. That's a good point.
You picked
That's a
up
good
poop
point.
every day. That's what he trying to say. You picked up poop every day.
Pete just reading. DC, what was the job?
What
I
you
miss.
mean?
You said, well, they're both on something that you say. You say you never told us what the next job you got offered was.
Okay, so let me clarify. I didn't get offered a job, but for folks in these positions, there comes a time when they start asking you, what do you want to do in your next job? And typically, they send your name for slates for consideration. There's no guarantee you'll get another job. But if you do, you may have to move. And so I wanted to be transparent and I told my command chief that I was not willing to leave Texas. I would be willing to serve, but only if I could stay in this area. And
Do you think that's
thankfully
a?
for him, which is what?
Go ahead.
Thankfully for him, Bill Fitch, shout out to Bill Fitch. He was honest. He's like, hey, look, there's nothing open in Texas. Are you sure you want to stay in Texas? Because there's not many opportunities there. So then I had a decision. I could have just like, okay, fine, open my name up for everything. But I wasn't willing to leave. And I think the right thing is to realize, no matter what position you're in or how long you serve, Air Force needs come first. And how can I be mad at the Air Force for saying, look, there's nothing open in Texas. I can't expect for them to move somebody so I can go there. And I still had to interview for the job. So there could have been another position out there, but it would have required me to leave. And I wasn't willing to do that.
Devon, what he basically says, you ain't up there on his level yet to understand.
Nah,
That's
Devon didn't say that. He
That's
said
basically
that.
what he said. Dale Brown, what up, big homie? You know you could jump on the show whenever you want. I know you have a lot of stuff going on and it's different time zones. But anyway, thank you for coming on. I ain't gonna, I think he meant lie. When Pete put on the diamond, I thought he had more runway ahead of you, bro. You had a different desire about the Air Force that I saw just outside looking in. Nothing but, hey, I'll be honest with you. I think you, man, you already know more than anybody know, man. I just did that to get out of security forces. Man, F that. Like, I know I was good at the job. I knew I would be pretty good at doing diamond stuff for what they did, talking to people, being around people, advising commanders and stuff like that. But man, F that, man. I knew it was time to go. And I think this is a true point, and you can answer this, Philly. I think when most people retire or decide to hit the button, they knew it probably a year before they hit the button or months before they hit the button. It ain't like they just woke up on a Tuesday and hit the button and was like, yep, I'm going to retire a year from now. They probably thought about it a year ago, 2 years ago, had conversation, even a self conversation. So I think once you reach that point, and that goes to a point where it's like, when do you know? And people always say that you know when you know. I think that's very true. It's hard to understand, but it's very true. It's very true. I'm a person else. I understand slates that come from Stas. He said, "Get your mind right." Triple R said, "I did 8 years and should have got out."
Oh
out the
wow, I
third
would love
year.
to hear why. I would
Yeah,
love to
that's
hear
kind of
why.
crazy. What's up, Luranaga? Pete, did you stay in Arizona? If so, you end up pursuing the teaching route. Hope you're doing. Yeah. We can talk, man. You could always text me, man, or call me. But yeah, I'm still out here for now and still trying to find that avenue because it's quite difficult to find places. But hopefully January will open stuff up. But what's the next thing we had to talk about?
Okay, I want to pass on the comment I got from Tony Renee through a DM. Tony Renee says, I got my dream job as the DA development advisor this upcoming June. Congratulations to you, Tony.
Congratulations. Yep.
I felt bad about getting it because I know I'm only going to do 2 years and then retire. And it's a 3 year tour. My mentor said what Pete said. The Air Force is going to move on after I retire. So take the job. Thoughts?
The Air Forces take the yeah. I mean, take the
So
job.
let me rephrase that because there are a lot of folks I know. You can kind of relate this to stratification too. There are folks I know that end up getting a strat for chief or made chief, and they turned it down and transitioned. And to Tony Renee's point, she gets this new job. It's a 3 year tour, but she knows she's going to only do two because she's going to opt out the last year to be able to transition. And she felt some she felt guilty to some degree about that. And her supervisor said, "You should take it. The Air Force is going to move on without
Yeah,
you."
I totally agree. At the point that you're at, that you have put time and effort into the military, as long as you're honest and open, and people who select you know that this is your plan. Now, if you go there with the preconceived notion you're going to do 3 years and only going to do two in your mind, that's kind of dirty. But if you're open and honest and be like, "Hey, I'm only doing 2 years. That's all I can give you," and it's at the location you want to retire, so you think about your family aspect, take the job. And you could do well in the job, take the job. Cuz you know what, there'll be somebody else in your shoes that is not thinking that way, is not being honest, but can only do 2 years. So that's my thoughts behind it. Nikki Vision Vanish, I think it's Vanish. I'm tired and ready to go. Hey, if you're tired and ready to go and you're ready to go, go ahead. Uh,
I'm tired. I'm
Hey, if you
ready to
ready to
go.
go, go. Tony Renee said, or excuse me, Devon said, Peter Teacher, oh hell no. Yep. Sure right. Felicia Ferguson said, if she didn't do it, the next person would. Yeah, exactly what I said. Exactly what I said. Yeah, don't nobody care. Uh, I meant for you to stay with stay
Oh,
without
my
my name.
bad.
That is crazy work right there. That is
I'm sorry.
probably why she
I'm
DM'd you.
Hey, so attention all.
It's too late.
Forget what
Just
I
move
said
on.
about the name.
Just
You know
move
what I'm
on.
saying? A
Just move
certain
on.
person I
Just
know,
move on.
a lovely lady I know.
That's
Anyway, I'm
crazy.
sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I boo boo today. Anyway, um, that's an interesting point because, like I said, some people will make you feel guilty for doing that, and I'm kind of torn on both ends. I think you already said, as long as you're honest, as much as you, there's no need to reveal everything because I've had people also say they didn't want to do anything. Now I'm about to give it. No, you're not. You're not. We're not. About what, Tony? I don't know why
Stop
you would
saying
say
her
that. About
name.
what?
Stop saying her name.
No, I'm just saying. I don't know what she's talking about. Do you?
Harry
You don't know what she's
Potter,
talking
Harry
about.
Potter.
I need Pete to read 5 pages out of a Harry Potter book during the interview. Better yet, say, does it? No, I did not.
Yes,
I
you
don't
did.
know what we even talking about Tony for. Who is this person? I
This
don't
is
even know who she
crazy.
is. Who is she? I don't
Please,
even know
somebody
who this
ask
girl
another
is.
question.
Anyway, as we move on, in the end, you got to do what's best for you, but be as honest as you can, as much as possible. Okay, so Charles Davis is divine. I said the same thing. I know he's not going to be a grammar teacher.
Yeah.
Future employers looking at this and saying, hell.
Yeah, I ain't gonna teach English. Like, what are we talking
Fatality.
about right now?
Yo, I don't even know why we talk. I don't even
All
know who
right, move
Tony
on.
Renee
Please
is. What
move
are we
on.
talking about?
Please
Moving
move
on.
on.
Moving on. Moving on. Okay, so I think in the end, I think you have to be comfortable with the decision you made. You've got to realize some people are going to support you, some people will not. You've also got to realize some people will assume because if your performance dips or if you decide to miss a meeting or whatever, some people are going to just assume that you're checked out because you're retired.
Type shit.
And it's nothing you can do about that. I think you still maintain your performance as much as possible, which brings me to my next point. You're going to get to a point, at least for me, I felt like I'm struggling with 2 things in my mind. I'm struggling with the now and what's to come. Because when you'd hit the button,
Type shit.
a clock starts.
Right.
Because now you have to start preparing, all the while serving in your current position. How did you navigate that?
I think well, let me get to this comment and we'll go through that. You will know when it's time. At the end of the day, only you
Russell, wait, what's up?
only you will take care of you. Transitioning is stressful until you make the decision. I wasn't ready, but it was the best decision for me and my family. Yep. Devon, what if you had to pick between Pete and Floyd Mayweather? I'm struggling with what to come. So cheap.
Hey, Mr.
I'm
Wade,
struggling.
why you ain't add me on your LinkedIn, man? You ghosted me. I was
Hey,
trying to
y'all,
connect
D.
with you, brother. So I want to pose a
I'm
question real
struggling
quick.
with what's to come. Okay, go ahead.
Yes,
Pose your
I
question.
want to pose a question, Mr. Wade. Would you agree? You being, I hate to put your business out there, even though I've been doing it all.
Oh,
show for other
please,
people.
please stop people putting business out there.
You being a former commissioned officer in the Air
Okay.
Force, and now a civilian, you've been pretty successful. I mean, you got all kinds of Louis bags and anything. But anyway,
But no.
what is it? Is there a difference in the thought process of a commissioned officer versus a senior enlisted of transitioning when it comes to financially and experience wise? Devon says DC called another person out. Goddamn. No, I'm not trying to be like that. It's my bad, you know. And if you guys want some stylish tips for high fashion, see Mr. Russell Wade.
Hey, Devon, you hit the nail on the
Yes,
head.
I'm asking for a
Yeah,
challenge. Yes.
I would
I used to
definitely.
work for you, Mr.
I
Wade.
would, I
So,
would give
hey,
you the
I'm
boom.
open.
I would
I'm
give you the
open.
boom if I could.
I'm open.
That's hilarious. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Anyway.
Hey, Devon, you'll see. You'll see when you get out. You use all your resources you can. I ain't even mad.
So, Mr. Wade, it'd be nice if you put some comments in there. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But anyway, you said back to the question. You said, how did you navigate splitting your time between doing your job, and you had a high profile job, being a first sergeant. You still had to take care of people and
Right.
all that, and still worry about transition.
I think that's what helped is that you still had to do your job because I didn't know my replacement. I think I had my replacement about 2 weeks out, maybe less, maybe a week out, and we only had like a week transition in between there. So you still are in the game, and as being a first sergeant, everybody knows this. I'm not tooting any first sergeant's horn or anything like that, or saying that our job is more or less important, but you still have people to take care of. You take care of people from the commander on down. And so you really don't have time to take days off or think about yourself too much. You still got to stay in the fight as much as you can, and go to meetings and stuff like that. Now, when they talk about stuff like 2026, as we are now, back in 2025, yeah, I kind of tuned that out, tuned off my like, what can I do to get y'all close? But I damn sure don't care about the finish line with this. But certain things you have to decide what you're going to tune out and what you're still going to be invested in. Award programs and stuff like that. You still got to be invested in those, because those ain't for you, it's for other people. And you can't leave them as having a bad notion about what a first sergeant is, because you got somebody else coming in for you. What up? What up? What up? I don't know who you are, but what up?
What up, brother? Welcome to the show, man. YouTube subscribe. What's up?
Yeah, I think Russell Waite just ignored you. But moving on.
Damn, why you had to say it like that for? I don't think he ignored me. Maybe he just thought I was kidding you.
Okay.
We should do a poll. I wish, I need to find out a way to do a poll, because I would put a poll up there. Those who think Pete isn't put yes or no. Yes
we
or no.
We can do a poll. We can always do a poll. Those are easy.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, I digress. I think it's different. I think for me, it was hard, man, because what's up, G? Because, my job, I still have to do my job, but my mind was thinking about the things I have to do to prepare. Absolutely. What's up, brother?
PJ,
and it was hard. Put the
man.
application in the shred pile. That's messed up, man. Jessica Player says y'all still on. Yeah, girl, we still on.
Wait, he answered your question, so here you go. He actually
Russell Wade says, absolutely. As you may know, my wife was a senior master sergeant when we both decided to retire. Big money. My advice is to know your worth. Most of us think that the retiring officer always gets the better opportunities compared to senior NCOs. I like that. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
I would agree with that mindset.
What you talking about? I said, yeah, I agree with him. What you talking about?
No, he said most of us think, in parentheses, that retired officers always get better opportunities as compared. I would think that's correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that was the thing.
I agree. I mean, it's assumed. I mean, I agreed with him. That's what I'm saying.
What's up, Wallington?
What's going on, bro?
Great perspective right there, Pete. Thank you.
Just read the comment. Focus.
You are right having the bandwidth for your people. As I'm getting close to the end, I often think about what I need to get ready for transition. Oh, man, my wife was initially offered a GS-12 position. Hit the money bell for that. We discussed her opportunity, and she was offered a GS-4. Hit the two money bells for that. Can we know your how that happens? Like, how does that? Is it just right timing, right place, right time? How do we get in the same part of the GS level like that? That's, I mean, shout out to her and y'all, but that's crazy. Go ahead.
What I was gonna say.
You said you were struggling.
I kind of get ahead of myself, because Russell Wade's comment was interesting about some folks. I think Charles Davis mentioned it earlier. You have some folks in senior positions, when they get out, they don't want to supervise or lead nothing. Then you have some people that feel compelled they have to get back into that rhythm. Russell Wade says all our records speak for themselves at this level. It's about what you know and who you know.
What do you say?
That's right, networking. So Russell Wade, if you got a job for me here in Texas, I'm going to use you down as a reference, brother. Devon says it's assumed, but dead ass the civilian I worked with was the previous FSS commander, and I never knew it till somebody randomly said it. I
like people like that. I admire people like that. You would never know where they come from or who they are. Like, man, we have this dude. He's a retired lieutenant colonel. Never knew. And eventually, he told me, he's like, yeah, he's an Army lieutenant colonel. I was like, goodness gracious.
Yeah, in fact, isn't it true, like, at your last job, I'm about to add. See, exactly. Hey, add Mr. Wade. He's that dude, man.
He gonna get 100 freaking.
He's that dude.
100 freaking friend connections.
Russell Wade.
To this day, I still shout out
job announcements that come across my desk. I didn't get one.
He said senior NCOs, not chiefs.
I didn't get one.
He said senior NCOs, not chiefs.
What I was gonna say, fudge. What was I going to say?
He said, I got you.
what was I going to say? Tony Renee says, that's my husband. He took a GS-12 non-supervisory. A 13 is available as supervisor. And he was like, nah. So that's what I want to say. Why would people, Pete, yep, he was a UPC. It threw me off. Why do people feel like, two dynamics. Why do people feel like when they retire, they don't want any job where they have to supervise? Or people that retire and they feel like, nah, last I checked,
Go
I
ahead,
don't have a lot of
keep your
Louis
thought
stuff
going,
like you,
keep your
Mr.
thoughts
Wade.
going, keep
And
your thoughts going.
anyway, don't worry about me. I'm good. Anyway, why do people feel like, and I think I could be wrong, but I think the majority of officers I met, especially commanders, they feel like they have to roll right into that GS 13, 14, 15 SCS job, or they don't feel fulfilled. Why is that?
I would think their experience, where they've been, and nobody. It's hard. It's very humbling and hard to take a step back. I personally don't care. Like, I don't care what position you put me in, as long as there's room for growth. I think I can move up. I think with our experience of where we've been at, especially being security forces, coming in with a different mindset, you start on the gate and you have aspirations to move up from there, get patrol or whatever your aspirations are from there. But some people are in the same job they did as an airman when they do it 20 years later. And so their mindset is, how do I start back over from doing this? They want to stay, or they want to stay fulfilled. I don't know why it's like that, but yeah, I don't know. Supervising civilians is completely different from, man, I would hit the money bell if I could. Bruh, amen to that. A little different. A lot different. A lot different. Used to abuse the military for 20 years. They want to chill. Yeah, yeah. I get that. Don't want to supervise. I definitely get that. Supervise civilians complete. Oh, we just said that. Yeah. I
I
definitely
think that
agree.
for me, it's tough. I'm kind of 50-50. There's a part of me that doesn't want anything to do with supervising, but there's a part of me is in my, not so much the supervision part, but the part to be able to be in a position to take care of people. Because some people think of supervision like being responsible for people, but there's another element as being able to guide and mentor and make decisions to help move people.
What's up,
So
Chief?
it's a part of me. What's up, Chief? Non-supervisory. Mute
That's how
me, please.
I would think. Like, I don't want to, because you're not supervising to mentor people
Man, you ain't
anymore.
really supervise nobody anyway.
That's
So.
okay. Anyway, I probably got as many people as you got. But anyway,
I think not.
okay.
I think
I'm glad you said
not.
think is the key word.
Fatality. I know not. How about
Think is the
that?
key
I
word.
know not.
Uh,
Wrong. That's wrong.
I will get to
Wrong.
Russell Waite's comment. I seen it here. Honestly, majority of FGOs, primarily full birds, seem to have a need for the power, respect, and privilege they used to have in uniform. Yeah, for sure.
Very common.
Yeah.
Very common.
Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. In y'all's opinion, is it wrong going from being a leader, high vis, to just wanting a job to go home on the civilian side? No.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about now. Yeah, I don't think it's wrong. I think you got to do what's there's to Tony Renee. I said something. She said something about 20 years and burnt out. There are some people that have been in positions and they just can't take it anymore. Like they just don't want to be in that position. Amber Green says, for me, when I punch, I don't want the feeling I currently have with always feeling needed. You go from being needed all day long at work by your folks to come home and be needed at home. I want to be able to put that energy at home and not feel siphoned by the time I get off work. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
give
good.
her.
That's a
give
good
her.
one. I like
yeah.
that.
But
I like
yeah,
that one.
Charles Davis. Hold on, I'll wait for it to come up. This is funny. All right.
Charles Davis. Also, I don't want to work on or next to any aircraft, especially gray tails. I see my maintainers retire and then do it all over again as a civilian. Hell no. It's funny. I got a friend, Mike Evans, who used to be a chief. Shout out to him in Arizona. He's actually deployed as a civilian, working as a contractor.
I remember
Not
that was
working on jets, but kind of like, supervising folks working on jets. Devon says, well, DC, since you got that itch, I need a records review. You know I got you, brother. I'll do it. Tony Renee says Michael Wallington. Hell no. Especially for a few years, I feel I want to take a year off and do nothing, then get back into it. I don't know. To be honest, for you, I told myself I was going to say that. Anyway, I feel like after 4 or 5 months, I'm ready to go back to work.
Yeah, I feel the
I
same way.
feel like I'm ready to go back to work, but preferably, I would not like to be in a position where I'm the one making all the decisions. I would like to be in an environment where I can help people. That's what I would like to do. But I don't want to be in an environment where I have no control over things. Russell Wade says, I supervise officers and senior NCOs, but not civilians. I love mentoring and coaching. Real talk. If y'all need advice, recommendations on how to navigate the process, feel free to reach out. RussellWade.1@us.af.mil. Appreciate it. I'm not surprised. Russell's always been a good friend of mine.
Javon McCoy, Chief
Javon
first
McCoy,
time.
Chief first time. Ha. Hey, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. After all, he does has his face in the 362903.
Hey, you're frozen,
He's
by the way.
famous.
You're frozen, by the way.